Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending upon where you're located. Welcome to today's webinar entitled Practice Management from Key Management Group. My name is Tony Whitbeck, and with me today is Brandy Harvey. I'm the CEO of Key Management Group, and I'm also one of our executive coaches. And Brandy really is our resident expert in practice management. She's one of our longest tenure coaches with Key Management Group to provide practice management services to advisors all across the country. Before we jump into today's content, I wanted to give you a brief overview as to the services that we offer at Key Management. The first is our executive coaching program, and this is really designed for the business owner, and it's going to focus on things like vision and foundation for the practice, the owner's personal and professional goals, growth strategies for the practice, how to build your team, and developing your practice value proposition. Practice management, which is the focus of today's webinar, really focuses on the back office or the operational side of the business with a high degree of support and focus around the staff. So here we're going to work on defining clear roles and responsibilities, having client service schedules, systematizing the client experience, providing accountability for the entire team, and then leveraging our KONECT practice management software. And Brandy is going to take you through today's content around practice management in just a minute. The third set of services that we offer are our outsourcing services. And here we do client meeting preparation and financial planning production. We do about 300 client meeting preps per week for advisors, and we do well over 1,000 financial plans throughout the course of the year. The fourth area of services that we offer is acquisition and legacy planning. And here we have our advisor legacy platform where we help people buy and sell financial advisory practices. We do business valuations, and we have 2 turnkey continuity plans. So again, Brandy's going to walk us through the practice management portion of the services that we offer. But before I turn it over to her, I wanted to set the stage. And there's a big difference between someone who is a great advisor or salesperson and someone who is a great business owner or leader. A great advisor is usually good at analysis, where a great business owner is usually better at integration. A great advisor or salesperson is often an expert or a specialist in a particular area. However, the business owner needs to be more of a generalist. A great advisor is more of a tactician, and they're good at doing things where a business owner needs to be focused on strategy. A great salesperson services people, where a great business owner or leader develops people. Great advisors are problem solvers. Oops, sorry about that. Great advisors are, well, we got my presentation running ahead of me here. Just 1 minute, sorry about that. Great advisors are problem solvers, and great business owners or leaders are agenda setters. So you can see the talents that are required to be a great salesperson or advisor is significantly different than that of being a great business owner or leader. And this is oftentimes the challenge that most advisors face. They're used to the advisor side or the left side of this equation, and they're not used to the right side, becoming a business owner and really focusing on things like integration, strategy, people development, and agenda setting. And I'm sure for those of you who are staff on the call today, you've experienced some of these things as well in your leader or your advisor. There was a study that was done by the Harvard Business Review, and we're going to entitle it The Bricklayer to the Architect. This was done in June of 2012, and the source was how managers become leaders. It was pretty interesting when you look at what it takes to become an architect if you're a bricklayer. So let's take a look at some of the specifics. So when trying to move from a bricklayer to an architect, oftentimes the bricklayer doesn't understand how little decisions impact the entire organization. So moving 1 brick, how does that change perhaps the foundation of the building? Oftentimes a bricklayer as a specialist will overmanage the functions that they know well, and they'll fail to acknowledge and develop the talent on their team. The bricklayer is more of an analyst versus an integrator, and they overanalyze the minutia rather than integrating the collective knowledge. Again, the bricklayer is a tactician, where the architect is more of a strategist. So they're focused on the details rather than driving the ship or the boat. And finally, the bricklayer is a problem solver versus an agenda setter. They like to fix the problems rather than define the problems worth fixing. So some of the symptoms that occur if the bricklayer continues to work as a bricklayer versus an architect is that there tends to be lack of role clarity in the practice. The staff either feel either under or overutilized. The advisor is in the weeds. Promises to clients are being broken. Things are slipping through the cracks, and each day is a new fire that they need to put out. So some of you may have similar experiences in working within the practice. And a lot of this has to do with inadequate systems for providing outstanding practice management. Again, the advisors tend to focus on the things they do best, which are serving the clients and perhaps marketing. So what I'd like to do next is to turn this over to Brandy, and Brandy's going to walk us through how practice management solves some problems. Brandy?
Thanks, Tony. Practice management can solve many of these problems or symptoms by offering clarity, responsibility, and organization. This means people in your practice will know exactly what they need to do every day. Nothing will fall through the cracks. People will be utilized to their maximum potential. Every item and every task will be accounted for so that the advisor can really become the CEO steering the ship. So what is practice management? Our practice management team assists in the day-to-day operations by designing roles and responsibilities and a model work week for each team member. We work side by side with you and your team members through integration and training to hold everyone accountable to the process, and in many ways, becoming part of your team. We define the activities required to effectively run your practice so each person knows what specifically is expected of them. This closes gaps and seals the cracks that can exist in daily functioning. Practice management focuses on 3 of the 6 key areas of your financial advisory practice: team management, the client experience, and business tracking. As I mentioned, we develop and maintain a clearly defined set of roles and responsibilities, creating job definition and those model work weeks to offer structure and guidance. Our team holds both the advisor and their team accountable to following those things to ensure success and consistency. The client experience, as we refer to it, is a cyclical process involving everything your team does that the client experiences or that touches them in some way. This includes scheduling, confirmations, preparing for meetings, greeting the client, holding the meeting, and of course, following up to ensure implementation. Essential to the client experience is the business tracking that must occur. We offer transparent and accessible tracking in a collaborative format. There's a myriad of items in motion in a practice at any given time. Effective tracking ensures none of the balls in the air get dropped. A few examples include business submitted to home office, trade completion, fee review and payment, and looking for and realizing opportunities. Through these 3 key areas, we can help you systematize your client experience through consistent, repeatable processes. I'd like to share with you a little about where many practices are when we begin working with them, and contrast that with where they are after we've worked with them over time. Before practice management, teams are often working in a more reactive manner. For example, client meetings are set up when clients call to request them. Some items are documented, but a lot of details rely on people's memory. Deliverables are just in time. Home office or compliance changes are not integrated fully until forced. Things may be missed, like trades, paperwork, or business opportunities, and there are often struggles between staff over who may be responsible for what. After we've implemented structural adjustments through practice management, clients are proactively set up on a recurring schedule up to 6 months in advance. Every piece of information is systematically recorded and can be retrieved in a predictable place. deliverables are produced in advance and on a repeatable schedule, changes are integrated seamlessly ahead of time, everything is tracked, mail, fees, paperwork, future business opportunities, and more, and everyone knows exactly what they should be doing and is held accountable for those tasks. I've mentioned accessible and transparent tracking, as well as a number of resources we provide for you. These items are all housed within our proprietary practice management software called KONECT. Here we have a suite of tracking tools to monitor all the key aspects of your practice. The tools are easy to use and allow for better collaboration between advisors and team members to ensure promises are kept for your clients and compliance requirements are met. It is here that we store your model work weeks, roles and responsibilities, and provide a comprehensive library of resources called Turnkey Solutions, with best practices, step-by-step guides, and workflows that we customize to your practice needs and preferences. We've even got a template for meeting notes that transfers tasks from client meetings to the trackers and can produce summary letters for your clients. So how does our team help hold you accountable? The ongoing schedule consists of weekly and monthly meetings with your team. Each staff member can initially expect weekly support from a member of the practice management team to provide training and accountability. The frequency of these meetings diminishes over time as the team member masters their role, with accountability becoming the primary focus. The entire team, advisor included, will meet weekly to recap the outcomes from client meetings to ensure promises are made and fulfilled in a timely fashion. We provide a web-based collaborative learning series of classes to supplement training, averaging one class available per week featuring a different topic. And finally, we offer an online program called 15-5 that fosters deeper and more meaningful communication between leaders and team members. Once training and accountability meetings begin to decrease in frequency, we're able to add a couple of monthly meetings to keep things running smoothly. The first is a team meeting not focused on client promises, but rather working through systems and processes to further refine and define them. Problem solving and documenting those processes together. We help guide you to best practices and determine practice preferences while focusing on effective and efficient use of staff and advisor time. The second meeting is called a strategic practice management meeting. This is a one-on-one meeting between the advisor and a leader in our team to foster open communication between the practice management team and your practice. It allows us to be clear on areas where improvement is being achieved, where it is still needed, how we can better assist you, and provides accountability for us in the commitments we've made to you. This forum is also where we can propose changes or introduce new ideas to the advisor before doing so in front of the team, to allow them to make critical decisions in their own time. I'd like to step back to a topic I mentioned a few moments ago, the Collaborative Learning Series. This is a series of weekly web-based sessions that focus on specific topics related to daily operations. Approximately 10 to 20 practices join each week to share knowledge and experiences, creating a natural network between team members in similar roles and practices we work with across the country. Team members can sign up for any topic of interest or value to their role. For example, we have classes on various tracking tools, their use, and best practices, maximizing your time in the weekly recap meeting, and reviewing essential processes so you can see how other practices are tackling the same challenges you're facing. A complete schedule of these classes can be found in the upcoming events calendar within Turnkey Solutions. Through the Collaborative Learning Series, we've made some very beneficial connections between practices, allowing them to collaborate on processes and learn from one another. For example, recently we held a class on the weekly recap meeting, and one team member was struggling with advisor engagement while she led the meeting. She was able to ask specific questions of our featured guest and others on the call to help her work through the issue she was facing. We connected her with specific team members after the class to allow further and deeper discussion. The collaboration doesn't stop when the class ends. While the classes are aimed at staff members, advisors are welcome to attend and often provide greater insight for them as well. The purpose of our service is to get you up and running on your own. Our goal is to teach you, not manage you. After the first year, Most practices have fully integrated the entire system and begin seeing all the benefits of their teamwork. Here are some of the statistics to give you some perspective on where teams are at after the first year of practice management. 60% continue working with us to provide accountability, continued education, and additional training. These folks value our ability to help them through the inevitably changing landscape of the industry and our skill at helping them reach for what is next in their business growth. For example, we currently have an advisor in year 2 who has thoroughly continued working with us as he is transitioning a staffer into an advisor role and at the same time lost and replaced a key member of his team. We've been able to help him manage these changes with minimal disturbance and little impact to his clients. Because roles were clearly defined, we were able to help him prioritize tasks for the missing team member and post a clear job description to ease in the hiring process. Another advisor in year 2 is working through a practice acquisition in another state. We're assisting her in role clarity as she acquires the staff from that practice and how to manage staff and workload in more than one location. 35% continue using tools and processes on their own after the first year, but determine they no longer require the hands-on guidance that we provide. And just 5% of advisors determine after the first year that they no longer wish to continue. What can you expect if you decide practice management sounds right for your practice? We'll start with an initial call with me to conduct some due diligence. You'll learn more about what we do, and we'll gather some more information about you and your practice. I'll then have enough information to provide a written proposal and quote. I'll follow up with you to discuss that proposal and be sure you have all the information you need to make a solid business decision. Once you've committed to working with us, we can begin our relationship with a call to introduce our service to your team as a group, allowing them to gain insight into what they can expect. We'll then meet with each member of your team to conduct a deeper due diligence, allowing us to assess your current systems and processes, prepare our recommendations, and build proposed roles and model weeks as a starting point. Next, I'll travel to you for an in-person training session. We call it the launch. It's typically 2 to 3 full days of learning to help you grasp the overall concepts we're introducing and to determine practice preferences so we can be sure we're implementing systems in the best possible way for you and your team. I will document your preferences and customize workflows to begin building your own operations manual, if you will, as a go-to resource for both your team and ours as we work with you in the coming weeks. When I return, I will debrief with our team to be sure they're fully prepared to begin helping you integrate the new systems into your practice. They'll begin doing so almost immediately through those weekly training and accountability meetings I mentioned. As you progress, we will add in the monthly meetings to further augment your learning and effectiveness. Most offices say they don't fully grasp and understand the systems until about the 90-day mark. This is often due to the need to finish out tasks in an old system while learning to adopt a new one at the same time. It's a normal and expected part of the process. We call that first phase the integration phase. After that, things become easier, clearer, and more efficient. In the mastering phase, generally around 3 to 6 months after the launch, teams get more comfortable in their roles and systems really begin to smooth out and start humming. In the latter 6 months of the year, we focus on refining the systems and continuing with education and growth. We call this 12-month process the practice management life cycle. We recently surveyed our existing clients, and I'd like to share with you some of the results. 100% of those surveyed strongly agreed with the statement, "I have seen clear improvements in organizations since working with KMG." 100% of staff members agreed with the statement, "Since working with KMG, I'm able to add more value to my advisor's practice." We asked participants to evaluate 8 critical areas of functioning in their practice for improvement. The top 4 achieved were organization, service quality, efficiency, and role clarity. As you can see, the remaining 4, client service, productivity, communication, and scheduling, were also reported as areas of significant improvement. what does practice management cost and what's included? Let's look at the average team of 4 individuals. This might be 1 advisor and 3 staff, 2 advisors and 2 staff, and so on. Included is a subscription to our proprietary management system, KONECT, which houses a suite of tracking tools, your customized preference documents and workflows, meeting notes tools, a library full of resources and turnkey solutions, and more. I'll come out for a 3-day in-person training and implementation. You'll receive weekly one-on-one meetings with each staff member and the advisor, monthly ongoing support for the whole practice, and continuing education opportunities through the collaborative learning series, as well as communication through 15.5. The cost for all of this, $2,500 per month. If you have a larger team, the cost is increased by $300 monthly per additional team member. So if you have a team of 6, perhaps 2 advisors and 4 staff, the cost would be $3,100 per month. The base fee of $2,500 plus $300 for each of the 2 additional members. We spend, on average, 24 to 28 hours per month in support of your team, working side by side with you, supporting you as you learn and grow. We do not simply dictate a system and come back later to see how you're doing. We customize our best practices and walk you through each step of the implementation. In many ways, we become part of your team and invest in you as a teammate would. We're in constant communication and are here to support you as needed. Tony started us out today sharing a little bit about the other services KMG has to offer. Some of you may already be working with KMG through one or more of those. All of them are designed to seamlessly integrate with one another. For example, if you're thinking about selling your practice in the next 5 years, the practice management team can help you get organized and streamlined so your practice is worth more when you're ready to take that next step. Acquisition and legacy planning can help you set up protection measures if something should happen to you in the meantime, and assist in the transition through sale or succession. The majority of our practice management clients also work with an executive coach. This partnership allows us to work with you on an even deeper level to help you achieve your goals as a practice. We provide the hands-on support and accountability to supplement the work you do one-on-one with your coach through your team. Where capacity may be an issue, or you may desire to leverage your team in another way, outsourcing financial plan production and client meeting preparation may be an ideal option for you. Our team can help your team manage the processes surrounding these services to maximize your benefit. Allow me to introduce you to our team of practice management coaches. We currently have 6 coaches supporting 30 practices across the country. Dawn Rem, myself, Brandy Harvey, Katie Canfield, Peggy Ruby, Tricia Stover, and Vicki Walton. These are the folks that will work alongside you to help implement the recommendations we make for your practice and support you as you learn and grow. Several members of our team have worked in financial advisory practices and came to us with years of industry experience. We asked some of our clients, what changes have you seen after implementing KMG's practice management service? Advisors said things like, practice efficiency that has removed me from much of the daily operations, which allows them to assume their role as CEO and focus on the business. Others see a growing sense that there will be an entity in place after I'm no longer around, ensuring a legacy for both their family and their business. Staff members commented that the workflows and efficiencies put in place greatly improved capacity levels. They simply can't imagine their office without the help of KMG. I love sharing what advisors and staff have to say about working with us. It's wonderful to hear that they're feeling the benefits of our investment in them and our commitment to their success. With that, I will thank you for taking time to let me share with you today, and I'll turn it back over to Tony.
Thank you, Brandy, for that wonderful overview and in-depth look at our practice management service. So what are your next steps? Well, one is we want to open up for some Q&A, but we also would suggest that you contact us for a free consultation. You can see the 800 number on our screen, 888-848-3349. That's one way to get a hold of us. You can see our email addresses at the bottom of the screen under our pictures. And then following today's webinar, you're going to receive a survey and that survey will take you less than 30 seconds to complete. And at the end of the survey, you have the ability to enter your name and contact information, and we can follow up as well. So we know our audience today consists both of advisors and staff members, and so I'd like to open up to some questions. Now, there's two ways that you can ask a question. One is you can unmute your telephone line by dialing *6, and the other way is to click on the chat functionality at the top of your screen. There's 3 circles. One of them has a quotation bubble. If you click on that, that'll open the chat window, and then you can type away with your question. So let me just pause for a minute and see who our first caller will be, or who's going to type in a question. Okay, pretty typical. Everyone's afraid to ask questions. So we prepared for that. So we do have some frequently asked questions. So Brandy, I'm going to ask these questions of you. What kind of advisors generally sign up for practice management?
Well, we work with a wide variety of practice sizes and complexities. We have a few teams that are smaller practices, perhaps 1 advisor and 2 to 3 staff, and many practices that are larger and more complex. Our team is particularly skilled and experienced working with practice with complex structure and needs. Whether it's a larger team with many advisors or a practice with 2 or more locations, team members working remotely, or even advisors with complex scheduling needs, we can help create repeatable systems and processes, clear roles, transparency, and accountability for all of them. A couple of examples of practices that we work with that were a little bit more challenging to design for. We've got a team in Texas that came to us with 4 advisors, 4 staff in 3 locations, and one of those was in another state. Another is an advisor who spends 2 weeks of every 6 at his vacation home in another state and works 1 of those weeks but takes 1 of them off.
Clearly some scheduling challenges there, I'd imagine.
Definitely. So that's something that we're well prepared to handle.
And how about our other services? Do most of our advisors that take advantage of practice management also use the other services that we offer?
Yes, the vast majority use more than 1 service and are most successful based on practice production as well as success with implementation. Teams are among those.
Okay. And you've kind of touched on how long do people stay with us, and I know we've had clients that have been around for 10 years with our practice management service. But how long is the initial contract?
The initial contract is 1 year.
Okay.
That's the 12-month life cycle that I mentioned before. But the value and focus shifts with the advisor needs in ongoing years to help with changes in the industry and changes in their practice. We've got a handful of clients who move on after the first year, as I mentioned, but the vast majority stay with us 2 years or more because we're able to help continue to support them as they grow and expand and continue to reach higher and achieve greater goals and success.
Okay, and then the last question, actually let me pause. Are there any questions from the callers? Okay, and then the last question, what's the difference between what we do and some of the home office training like the Practice Makeover program?
Many of the home office resources are self-guided or self-paced, and this can be difficult for many learners. We're a hands-on based service that helps step team members through learning and then take it further to provide ongoing education and that all-important accountability that can't be achieved through that self-guided learning system. We provide the ability to take recommendations and best practices, customize them to the practice needs and preferences so that resources really become their own. Home office has a lot of excellent material to work with, and we do refer to it quite a bit, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel either. So we find ways to use those, add to them, fill in any gaps that might occur, and add necessary support.
Great. Yeah, I know the Practice Makeover program is a great program, and it's only 6 months. And so advisors, we get quite a few advisors from that program that enroll in our practice management service because they need something beyond 6 months. That's kind of like the shot of vitamin B to help them get started, but they need something on an ongoing basis. Well, thanks for answering those questions. So it looks like we don't have any questions from our callers, so I'm going to wrap up. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to attend today's webinar. Again, we'll be sending out a brief survey. If you could take a few minutes to fill it out, we would appreciate it. And feel free to contact us by phone or by email, and we can talk further about how we can help you. Thanks again.